Hey guys, it's been a while, but I'm back. Playing around with some last Epoch crafting today. I've got a much deeper crafting guide coming out, but today I wanted to go over glyphs and runes and how they impact the crafting process. Last Epoch's crafting process is the most intricate crafting process of any of this genre. It's an incredible system. It's infuriating as well as addicting. Um, but the rewards are incredible if you understand the process. And part of understanding the process is understanding what the glyphs and runes do. So today we're going to show you a brief overview of each of these. I have a much more detailed crafting guide coming out, but as I was going through that guide, I felt it was important that we had a discussion about what each glyph does. So the first glyph we've got, and the most used glyph, is going to be your glyph of hope. The glyph of hope is important because each item that you've got has a set amount of forging potential that you get to utilize in your crafting process. You can't change this, you can't add to it, so it's important that we maintain the most we can so we can get all of the outcomes that we want to obtain from this. So as you see here, we're going to be rolling this tier 1 minion health first. The Glyph of Hope gives us a 25% chance that rolling any of our runes, or rolling any runes, any upgrades, any additions to our affix slots gives us a 25% chance not to use any of our forging potential. So let's see if we can hit it. Boom, first shot, great, thanks, great for the video. As you can see here, the Glyph of Hope preserved forging potential, so we were able to upgrade this minion health regen without using a single one of our forging potential. The next glyph we have is the Glyph of Chaos. This is the most infuriating yet biggest dopamine hits if you hit what you're looking for. So what this does is it's going to guarantee you an upgrade on your affix slot as well as randomly roll it an affix within that prefix suffix category for the item. So right now we've got minion health regen, it's tier 2. By utilizing the Glyph of Chaos, it is going to roll a random slot, so we hit throwing damage. We also hit a critical chance, which means we got it for free, and it rolled, upgraded that new random affix to tier 3. So again, this Glyph of Chaos is going to upgrade, a guaranteed upgrade, and change that affix to a random one in that range. The next one's the Glyph of Order. The Glyph of Order is going to be more impactful in your late game, especially if you have a lot of forging potential. It is not as impactful most of the time, but what this is going to guarantee is if you have a very high range. So if you look at your item and you use your control and your alt to hover the item, you can see that the range that you have in an affix range is going to be set, and you're going to have a value somewhere in that range. So as you see here, throwing damage is from 8 to 10, and we hit the lowest it could be there. Alright, so we're going to upgrade this with our Glyph of Order, and as you see again, 8 to 10. By hitting the roll here, it's going to guarantee that we kept that percentage of that affix range. So as you see here, we upgraded that from 11 to 14, or the range went to tier 4, which is range 11 to 14, and we had the lowest range possible on the previous tier, and as you see, it maintained that percent of the range, and it guaranteed we had the lowest again. Why this is important is, let's say you are looking for that, you're min-maxing, and you got a crit chance or a spell crit chance, and it's at the 100% of that affix range, you got plenty of forging potential left, and it's the last slot here, guarantees you that you're going to maintain that 100% of that affix range. I'm out of Despair, but I wouldn't use it here anyway due to their rarity. What a Glyph of Despair is it's going to allow you the opportunity to pull out one of your prefix or suffixes and seal it. Tiers 1 and 2 of that pull are going to be pretty good. You're going to hit tier 1 every time, tier 2 is most of the time. Tier 3 gets really sketchy. Tier 4 and 5, you're good luck. Go get you a lottery ticket. But why this is important, as you're min-maxing and you want to hit those 5 affix items, or if you're rolling for a very specific experimental affix, it's very important to have your sealed mod. So what this does is, if we had any forging potential left on this item, we could take this ward gained on potion use, utilize our Glyph of Despair, and when we upgraded it or rolled that potential to upgrade, if we hit, it would remove it from your 4 here and seal it into this slot here. And what that does is you can't upgrade it again, you can't do anything else to it, it seals it, locks it in place, but it opens up a 5th affix slot. So it's very important as you're min-maxing to get further in the process. And finally, we have our Glyph of Insight. The Glyph of Insight works only on your boots, gloves, and your belt, and this guarantees you a experimental affix in your item. Now there's a great website here. It's just a Glyph of website tool, and it is set in stone. These are preset conditions. You take your item here. So if we were going to look at this item, for example, our first prefix is 4, our second prefix is 2. We've got a 2 on the suffix here, and we've got a 5 here, and we don't have a sealed right now. So as you see, as it sits right now, this item, this is what, if we use the Glyph of Insight on this item right now, on the tier 2 ward gained, it would guarantee us that it would give us an experimental affix of the current health loss per second and the ward gain per second. So as you're looking to really upgrade your items, get your 5 slots, this tool is fantastic. Now, side note, right now this is a preset order. We know what the conditions are, but they have said that in the future they're going to change this up each cycle, and it's going to be a community effort to determine what that preset conditions look like going forward. But right now there's not changing it. This is a known formula. It's not changed. We don't know when it is going to change. So utilize this, and it will guarantee you the experimental affix that you had, or that you're looking for. A couple quick notes here. The experimental affix tier. So what tier you get when you use your Glyph of Insight is based on these right here. So guaranteed, if you have none of the other factors, you're going to get your tier 1. However, if the item has 2 fixes that are of the same tier, so if both of our tier 2 or both of our suffixes were tier 2, we're guaranteed the next tier of our roll here. If the sealed affix is higher than tier 2 or tier 2 or greater, so in this situation, if we had pulled out this tier 2 ward gained on potion use, it would guarantee that 3rd roll, and it would be a tier 3. And if the item has a set 7, so if we had a exalted item here and the throwing damage here was tier 7, it would guarantee us that last one. And of course, if an item is tier 6 or 7, it's already exalted, so you're guaranteed if you hit your 7, you're going to hit your last one. And this is going to guarantee the highest roll of your experimental. Couple of things to note here. With this being a guaranteed formula, by changing these values here, we see what it's going to roll here. So by changing this preset or prefix to tier 2, we're now getting the dodge rating. If we change these to here, we are now getting the maximum roll for the ward per second. So again, all of this is predetermined. We know what it's going to be. Use it. One other note, you can only roll the Insight on a prefix slot. So it's very important that when you're utilizing this tool, this calculator, that you want to make most of your changes down here. The reason for this is you can only roll the experimental if you have an open upgrade slot. The reason I say don't or avoid using your prefix that you're going to use as your experimental, avoid using that as your calculation change, because if you do change this to 4, and as you see, we've got the ward gained on kill. If we wanted to change that again and get to a dodge rating, or again the ward here, anytime you upgrade a slot, you potentially run into where you can critically hit and upgrade one of your other rolls. So you could brick this item. If you were to upgrade this tier 2 or from this 3 to a tier 4 here, and you critically hit and roll this to 5, this item can no longer be upgraded and you can't get that experimental. And again, we're going to go into this much more in depth in the crafting guide that's coming out, but just be mindful. This tool is incredible. Use it whenever you're looking for that 5th slot experimental. Alright, let's go. That's our glyphs, so let's get into our runes. So the first rune, we all know what it is. It's the Shattering. It's going to take... We'll use our bricked item. So the Shattering is going to pull out all of your items here. And it's going to break down. And it's going to give you shards of those items, of that item for all of the affixes. The Refinement rune is going to re-roll the value of all re-roll the values of all affixes on items within the tiers. So as you see here, here's our values. We got a 6%, 35 range. These are all pretty high rolls. Using the Glyph of Hope to hopefully preserve it, and we did. And as you see here, we re-rolled those ranges. Your next is going to be the removal. The removal is infuriating to use if you've got an item that is full. You have maybe it's a 3 of 4 and you got one item and you really need one of those affixes to pull off. The rune of removal is going to pull off one of your affixes at random. It does use forging potential, so you potentially could get a hit here. So using it, and we removed that suffix slot. You do get your by using it, you do get the shards back from whatever pulled out. Your rune of discovery, any open affix slot you have, by utilizing it is going to add a tier 1 randomly into all slots. So as you see here, and we got another Glyph of Hope. This is fantastic. We've hit all of our Glyphs of Hope except for like 1 or 2, which means when I actually craft later today, I'm going to hit none of them. But it's great for the video, so here we are. So as you see here, we rolled a T1 physical, a T1 health, and that again, any open affix slot is going to drop in a tier 1 randomly there. Your rune of shaping, your implicits on an item, and as you see here, we've got 30% block chance and 30% block chance and 852 efficiency. So if we use the shaping, we changed it from the 30 stayed the same, and we reduced our block chance to 829, and we used up all of our forging potential. So again, your rune of shaping is going to re-roll implicits. Why this is important is, let's say you're good to go, the item's locked in, but you had a really low roll on your chance to ignite for this item, for example, which we do. You slot that in, and we hit almost perfect on that. So that was solid. Re-rolled it to a very high range on our implicit. Your rune of ascendant, everybody's favorite rune. You're going to take an item, and it's going to upgrade it to a legendary. And we hit a mage relic. We're going to skip this one. Your rune of research. Your rune of research. What a rune of research does here is it's going to take your experimental mod and it's going to seal it, allowing for a 5th affix slot. So, and you also have an opportunity to gain a Glyph of Insight from this action. It's a very low percentage, but if you got a lot of research runes and you're looking to min-max, you're going to want to utilize this so you can pull out those experimentals, but at the same time get a chance for a Glyph of Insight. So again, what it does, you see this item here has a traversal skill. Popping it is going to pull out the experimental, giving us a 5th slot, and I heard it, there's a Glyph of Insight that dropped with it. And so now we have a 5th affix slot opened up by sealing this. Also, similarly, your Glyph of Despair, it's going to pull that, and this is what it's going to look like when you use that Glyph of Despair. And lastly, we have our Rune of Creation. This is your mirror item for you guys that have played PoE. This is just going to copy an item you've got. So if you rolled a dope 5 slot with 5 affix slot item, it's perfect. T7, T7, 555 on your experimental. You can duplicate this. I've never seen one. Good luck getting one. They're rare. But again, it's your PoE mirror item. It duplicates an item. All right. Thanks, guys, for checking out the Glyph and Rune discussion. Again, I got a really detailed, in-depth crafting guide coming out And I look forward to seeing y'all there. If you know where I'm at, talk to you later.